Hello once again everyone, welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be number 8 in my How I Draw Anatomy series, and I'm going to be showing you how to draw very simple hands. The main goal of this video is to be able to capture the basic shape and movement of a hand while being able to work quickly so you don't focus too much on the details before it is necessary to focus on the details. As with every other video in this series, the goal is just to teach you how to get down a basic idea so you can move on with the rest of your drawing. And please keep in mind, if this is the first time you're watching this series, the goal of this series is to capture an idea or capture movement or motion in your illustration. It's not to draw perfectly realistic hands every single time you draw them. That's not what I do in my own style. I like to keep things loose and sketchy. So just bear that in mind, that this is a more gesture-based tutorial and it is not going to be a super detailed hand tutorial. I'm going to do the basic structure part of the video first, and then I'm just going to have a quick little demo at the end showing this page and this page of hands. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with the basic structure part of the tutorial. So when I go in to draw a hand, the first thing that I do is I look at the shape of the hand. So we're just going to draw a hand facing flat out like this just to get an idea of the basic shape of the hand. As I said, I work in shapes normally. So you want to start out with like a kind of squared off circle, or sometimes a circle will work as well because a circle will fit in here. And what I just do is draw kind of the shape of the fingers as if they were all together. And I also tend to make my fingers a little bit long because that's just kind of how my drawing style works. And then you want to do the same thing for the shape of the thumb. Kind of looks like a mitten. Like, that's what I always think. I always kind of draw a mitten first, and then I will add a little bit of detail later on. So for the fingers, you'll want to separate these into the shapes of fingers. So you'll just add 3 lines, and then that makes the 4 fingers. And to add where the bends of the fingers are, I would just go in and I would add some simple lines, just like that. So this is a basic design of how a flat hand would look, and you can do the same for the reverse. Just instead of having the thumb being pulled to the front, just do the exact same thing, but you would pull the fingers down, and then that would be the back. Now when I'm doing gesture drawing, this is usually too much for if you're trying to do a quick like minute gesture or a 5-minute gesture, or just something to like get your basic idea down. So what I would do for that is I would probably add a very quick circle and then just kind of, I always think of it like a lobster claw kind of deal. That's what I would do to get a basic shape of a hand down. And if I'm feeling really ambitious, I will add a finger or something, and that gets your basic idea down as quick as possible because that took 2 seconds. So just anything like that to get the basic shape of what you're going for down. If I was doing a gesture drawing or drawing from life or anything like that, especially if you're timed, stuff like this works really well. This is more what I would go into if I'm looking into like doing like more of a finished illustration, or if I have this down and I want to take it to a next step, I would go into like adding each individual finger and stuff. But when you're doing a gesture drawing, it's really not important. The more important thing you want to capture is the shape and the movement. One of the other things I forgot to mention is, especially if you're starting out, it's really important to use reference. I know that people say that reference is bad and that you shouldn't use it, but that's not true. Using reference is one of the most helpful things you can do to help you improve and learn how to do new things with your art. So if you are looking to draw hands, I just Google like hand reference images or something like that. Go onto Pinterest and look at hand reference images. That's what I do. Anytime I draw hands, I always either take photos of my own hands and then draw those, or I will just look up photo references of hands online. So just keep that in mind if you are new at drawing hands. I definitely recommend using reference. So now if I was going to go into something a little bit more detailed, I would start out with that basic shape like I already said. Just gonna kind of keep it really loose and sketchy because that's the way that I like to work. If this is not the way you like to work, and you don't like working really sketchy and you just like to do precise lines, just make sure you keep your pencil lines light in case you need to erase something. So I will go in and I will draw basic shapes, and I am looking at reference photos that I took earlier today. And I will just kind of start building the shapes that I want. So I have the shape of the fingers right here, my thumb is here. This is also a continuation of the palm of the hand because you can see I drew the circle, and then this is the wrist, which, whatever. So I will go in and I will just indicate where the fingers are in this drawing that I want. And you can already kind of see the basic shape of the hand. The thing I noticed that I do is I like to make my thumbs really long, which they don't need to be really long, and that's something that I need to work on, but someday, we'll see. And then I will just go off and I will like round the fingers off. I tend to like more square fingers, I don't know why, but I do, so I just kind of try to keep it like that. I still keep it really vague, but it definitely reads as a hand. And another thing you can do to indicate like what direction your fingers are pointing is you can add the fingernails and some shading. And so this is how I would go about just building a really simple hand using this method. So it's really similar to using the shapes to build the foot like I showed in my last video. It's just about looking at your reference image or knowing what it is that you want to draw and just being able to pull shapes from the actual photo or whatever it is that you're looking at of the hand. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I took a photo reference of my hand, which I just took like 2 seconds ago, so I'm going to use this as a reference and draw it super quick using the technique that I just showed you guys. Alright, so that is about as detailed as I would go into when I was drawing a hand for my own illustration, so you can see just how quick and simple it is just using the basic shapes of the hand to kind of build it and then add a little bit more detail, and you can give the look of like directions based on like the way the fingernails are pointing and things like that. So yeah, that is how I do really quick hands for my illustration. If I was going to do this as a gesture in like 2 seconds, I would do something like that. So it was really quick, gets down the basic shape of the hand, and it took like 2 seconds. So that's a good way to do it if you're doing quick, especially timed drawings. That is how I would go about doing that. Alright guys, I hope that was helpful in some way. I wanted to keep it really simple because I know that a lot of people really struggle with hands, and this is the easiest way that I have found to draw them. So yeah, as usual with these types of videos, if you practice some hands using this technique and you want to share it with me, you can tag me on any of my social media. I am at MissKerrieJ everywhere on the internets. So anywho, the next video in the series will be covering how to draw the head, and that might be the last video in this series. I haven't quite decided, but I'm pretty sure that it might be. So yeah, I will be covering how to draw a head, which is the only thing that I have not talked about in this series yet. So that'll be hopefully next month. We'll see how I'm feeling about that. But if you found this video helpful and you'd like to see more videos from my channel, please subscribe and give my video a like. It helps to support me a lot. And if you'd like to be notified when I post new videos, you can ring that little bell down below. And yeah, I will see you guys next week for another video, and thank you guys for watching. Bye!